Mr. Epperson.
Here.
Mr. Escaday. Mr. Jenkins.
Present.
Mr. Lynn.
Present.
Mrs. Lynch.
Here.
Mr. McCulloch.
Here.
Mr. Pearson. Present. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Thibodeau.
Here.
Have a forum, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. If you have a cell phone, you would put it on silent or vibrate so it won't play chocolate high like mine did on Monday. Let us stand for the invocation by the marquee seats. This camp student from Harton, the Pledge of Allegiance by Alexis Daniels.
Lord, we come here today. Thank you for bringing us here. Lord, please let this meeting go as it's planned to go and let it go through your way, Lord. And Lord, thank you for all these blessings and more. In your son, Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Repeat after me. I pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Are there any agenda additions, Commissioner? C9. Need a motion to adopt the minutes from June 4th.
June 4th or 1st?
The agenda says held on June 4th.
We got them on Monday.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Jenkins, second by Commissioner Epperson. Any discussion? Please vote. Okay, that passes. Commissioner Epperson, register as yes, please. Any special resolutions, Mrs. Spears?
No, ma'am.
Communiques and report, Mr. Wilson?
Yes, ma'am. Just have one item today. I'm pleased to announce that the organization financial department, led by Mrs. Erica Bryan's efforts, has led to us receiving another GFOA award for 2007. And this one will commend her. She is not here, but in her absence, Ms. Haley. The plaque will be forthcoming. We received a letter this week saying that we did receive that award again for financial reporting and accounting.
Very good.
And
Okay.
that's all I have, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Communiques and reports, any from any commissioners? Commissioner Dominique?
Just had a couple. First of all, I laid out or put out at everybody's station, which Larry Raymond had provided me, was the 18th annual Get Hooked on Fishing Day. That'll be Saturday, June 27th at the Earl Williamson Park. Registration will begin at 7:30 and it ends around 12:30. Lunch will be provided. Wanted to be sure to invite each commissioner and anybody who would like to participate on the Hooked on Fishing that to come there, or they can contact Larry Raymond at 929-2806 or Benjamin House at 995-7139. We're trying to promote our parks and recreation. This is one of the bigger events that we have in our area parks, so please help me get the word out. Hopefully everybody can attend that event. The second thing, I got a call from Mike Irvin, who's the principal at Oil City School. Apparently they've been having a function at Earl Williamson for the past 2 days, along with Troop G, concerning kayaking and safety enforcement. And he just wanted to say that our Park and Recreations Department, with Larry Raymond and our Park Ranger Benjamin House, did an outstanding job helping put on this event. So Larry, I wanted to thank you, and be sure and send our sentiments to Benji House for a job well done. And be sure and send Troop G, Tommy, I forget his last name, Madden. We need to be sure and send him a letter, because he really said that this was a joint effort. They really helped out something in the kids. So we're doing a lot of things in our park and recreation. We just need to get the word out and get more people involved.
Is the Hooked on Fishing, is that for adults and kids?
It's for children, but I tell you what, you come up there, we will let you fish.
I'm looking for, I'm looking for a man to take me
It's
fishing.
mainly, it's for the children, but and they fish, and there's different stations they go to. They learn about boating safety, and just things about the water. And the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries are there, so it's a good thing.
Okay.
I think she's just interested in what time lunch gonna start.
No, it's about the man. Can't find on land, so we're gonna go there.
Lord, help me, Jesus.
Okay, I've also handed out at everyone's desk a stimulus recovery report, 100 projects in 100 days that the president unveiled, which was 100 days from the signing of the stimulus bill, and just gives you an idea of types of projects that have been done across the country as we move forward on that. Also, I do want to remind those in the audience at home and here that you can look at Caddo Parish Commission work session and regular meetings on our website, www.caddo.org. Okay. Next item, Mrs. Spears. I'm sorry, Commissioner McCullough.
Yes, I wanted to, at this time, acknowledge my second grade teacher, Miss Joyce Marie Carter Fuller, the sister of the former late Ekata Fuller, and her husband, Mr. Carter. Would you please stand? Ms. Carter was my second grade teacher at Pine Grove Elementary School.
All right, good to see you all. I need a Commissioner Epperson, I'm sorry.
And I'd like to recognize the Carters as my good neighbors. Good to see you all today.
All right. We need a motion to suspend rules to allow visitors.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Cox, second by Commissioner Pearson, without exception. We've got an auditorium full of young people here today with the Biz Camp program. They have two representatives that are going to come forth and speak. One representative. That's you. Come on.
Good afternoon. My name is Bruce Sproul.
And I'm DeMarcus Seats.
On behalf of our state representative, the Biz Camp staff and student body would like to thank our parish commissioners for the support you have given to Biz Camp over the years.
The Biz Camp class of 2009 students have really enjoyed our first week at Biz Camp. We have learned many valuable things to help us become entrepreneurs, such as how to properly give a handshake, and also we have learned many goals and characteristics that we will need to stay focused and to become successful entrepreneurs. We have taken 2 exciting field trips. We have gone to the Shreveport Business Incubator, and we have visited Safety Town to meet with Chesapeake Energy to talk about natural gases and how it affects our country. On behalf of our Biz Camp students, we look forward to finishing the Biz Camp program, and we would also like to say thank you and for giving us this opportunity and for all your support.
We would like to present you with these shirts as a token of our appreciation for your continuous support.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to wear mine fishing.
Carl and I need those triple X large.
You got that triple X in there, y'all.
Let me ask the
Carl and I got first dibs on those.
let me ask the students, because the Caddo Parish School Board does work with this program as well. The staff from that works with this program, if you all would please stand. Interns, teachers, retired educators. You get out of here without saying something. This looks like the largest group, I think. Is it? Come up to the mic, please.
That's my coworker.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm smiling. I really thank you for this opportunity to say this. I want to share with Mr. Pearson when he walked in that the students asked, "Is that T.D. Jakes?" But I assured them that you were not.
Thank you so much, man.
But anyway, President Lynch, this is a large group, but it's really not our largest. We have a total of 47 students who are enrolled in the camp. We've had as many as 51 students in the camp. This is one of our larger groups, and we're just so pleased that we have the opportunity to come and let them share and see what a parish commissioner's meeting looks like and what goes on in the parish commissioner. We want to thank you, our staff, again, on behalf of Roy Burrell, who is sort of the inventor of this program. We want to thank you all for the opportunity to speak, and we want to thank you for the support that you've given us over the years, the continued support, because as you know, without people like you, sponsors like you, this camp would not be possible. And for those of you who are not familiar with Biz Camp is a 2-week entrepreneur training camp where we train students. We feel that entrepreneurs are not born, but they are grown, and we grow them during this 2-week session. We have so many exciting biz plans that are becoming a reality. The students are now working on them, and if you have the opportunity, we will be judging those biz plans on next Wednesday at Centenary College. We thank you again, and just let me introduce the staff right quick. We have Tia Johnson from Fair Park High School, and Tia Johnson Young from Woodlawn High School. And we have Holly Robbins, who is with FDDOC, fully devoted for developing children. They're one of our sponsors. And we have Miss Catherine Harris from Huntington High School, Cassandra Howard from Fair Park High School, and our intern is Haley, who is a 2008 Biz Camp representative. We have one of our ICE board members with us, Melvin Stringer. Again, we thank you all.
Next, I have a card from Jimmy Coubion. Ms. Coubion.
Good evening, Jimmy Coubion, 950 Mansfield Road.
Hold on 1 second, Mr. Coubion. Let me make sure I don't have you. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're speaking on one that we're going to have a public hearing on. I'm sorry. You're speaking on something that we're having a public hearing on.
I need to go sit down.
Yes.
Is that right?
I wasn't going to say it quite like that.
No, come back.
Bye-bye.
That's all the same.
Oh, God, this is going to be a long day.
Get a motion to go back into regular session.
So moved.
Okay, without exception. Public hearing on zoning cases, Mrs. Spears.
Yes, ma'am. That's your first case, zoning case P6, ordinance 4888. Bernard's Market and Eatery is the applicant. They're requesting to rezone property east side of Ellaby Road, south of Southern Loop, to B2 for a proposed B2 development.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this zoning case? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Next case.
Next, zoning case P7, ordinance 4889. David Pierce is the applicant, requesting to rezone property on the east side of Pleasant Hill Drive, south of Dunn Drive, from R1 to R1DE urban for proposed outside storage of metal studs, vehicles, and trailers.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak in support of this ordinance? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Next case.
Zoning case P8, ordinance 4890. Clyde and Catherine Barnes are the applicants requesting to rezone property on the south side of West 70th Street, east of Dinkins Drive, to I-1, SPI-2, Light Industry Overlay District for proposed contractor office and equipment yard.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak in support of this zoning case? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Next.
That's all of the zoning cases. Next, you have public hearing on your regular ordinances, of which there are two. First one is ordinance 4892. It enacts a Chapter 11 of the Code of Ordinances addressing code enforcement and otherwise providing.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak in support of this ordinance? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Mr. Kuvion, is this where you?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Kuvion? We're on the ordinance for code enforcement, which is what's indicated on the. Are you speaking in favor or in opposition?
Neither.
Okay. We're gonna have to invent a new category.
I think you'll understand. Don't mean to be cute.
We'll
I think
put you in
you'll.
the support then.
I am supportive. I am very supportive of the property standards that we've been contemplating on for a number of years. And the reason that I came down was to basically, if you will take a copy of this and take a look at it, I have marked up some of the language in this in section 11.1. I don't think there's anything there to talk about. Let's go down to 11.2 and the violations. And areas to be excluded, commercial property, farmland, recreational locations, 5-acre tracts, businesses, oil and gas and timber. I question that we should be excluding some of these. You know, 5-acre tracts, we started some time ago because there was a provision on Parish area that we could put in these subdivisions with 5 acres and not have a hard surface road. And so we have quite a lot of these around, and many of these are on limited access roads, whereby if you have one track, they live close to the public access, and if they're going to be trashy, they'll have trash in front, you know, close to the highway areas. They're not going to have the trash in the 4 acres, you know, that's in the back part of the area. Once you have one of these, then every property on that road is subject to being hampered in its ability to be marketable, simply because when the trash is there and it's visible, then people that would be coming looking at one of these 5-acre tracts are going to say, well, I'm not going to live here. You know, I'm not going to look at that mess every day that I come by here, so I'm not going to look at this property for sale. So how much of this we have in the parish is quite extensive as far as 5-acre tracts. Now, how many of them are trashy? I'm not going to go there, you know, because I don't have any way of saying that. But we have a lot of 5-acre tracts that are within the 5-mile jurisdiction of the MPC. Hayward Drive is one that was brought to my attention recently, and it's 5-acre tracts. And we had trouble there with one guy that never would mow his yard. The weeds were about this high, you know, and he's right there on the right-hand side when you went in there. Finally, the neighbors went down there and said, you know, can we mow your yard? And he works for Kansas City Southern. And basically, yeah, it'd be fine. So people had to mow his yard because he was a reflection upon the whole drive because he was the first house on the right when you went in there. So I'm just saying that we need to think about that. Some of this stuff in here is kind of petty. Garbage cans more than 24 hours after garbage has been collected on any lot, neutral ground, street, sidewalk. You know, I don't know where you're supposed to put your garbage can after 24 hours. I mean, if you can't put it on your lot, that doesn't make any sense. Let's get down to inspections in 11.3. This we've been talking about for some time, having constables and JPs enforce it. To go into a structure, it says here, any entry it says constables and justices of the peace may enter any building, structure, or premises at reasonable times for the purpose of ascertaining whether a violation of this section exists, where there is reason to believe that such may be the case. This, as I read it, means that you're going into residential homes. You're going to ask to go into residential homes. as a constable. You know, trash is one thing, and whether it's visible or not visible is another thing. And to start our program off, I would feel more comfortable if we only worried about trash and issues that are curbside, that we refer to as curbside issues, whereby you see it. Going to somebody's house to find out whether they got trash under their bed or what they've got is a little bit, you know, to me, beyond what we should be doing under any set of circumstances. You go into a house in a lot of these cases, and you're not dealing with people that, you know, that mow their yards and that maybe that you would want to associate with. You don't know what you're going to run into. You may have a surveillance there with the sheriff's department that's already looking at that property. And there may be people in there that are in drug areas, you know. You're going to mess up that investigation by having constables go in there. Constables are not networked with law enforcement. And lastly, a constable is an elected official. They are not under your jurisdiction. They're not under any citizen's jurisdiction. A ward is only known geographically by Ernie Robinson. I don't think there's any citizens out here that know the definitions of where a ward begins, where it stops. There are 12 of them, constables listed in the blue sections of the phone book. And it says by ward, you know, Ward 4, Ward 3. I don't know where those wards are, you know. So I wouldn't know, could I as a citizen call a constable and ask him to go and make an inspection on a property when I don't even know his jurisdiction? I don't even have the influence with a constable to tell him to do anything. I don't quite frankly feel like that y'all have the influence or the authority to tell a constable to do anything and to make him go out and do this. So I'm not so sure we shouldn't be talking about, if we're going to talk about constables, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. Let me just say this. I believe that I and many others in Caddo Parish would appreciate it if you would take a look at the enforcement side of this and go ahead and fund it. Get a parish employee to go out and make these inspections. And there will be other jobs that they could do once we get this thing under control. And I think we'll get this under control. I believe with going out and letting the community know that the parish is serious about this. I think these areas that we got, you know, I can't think of that many. I can think about maybe 10 right now in District 11 that I could just go to, boom, boom, boom. I could take pictures of those 10, and if those 10 would be cleaned up, it would send a message to the rest of those that are kind of minor, and they basically would say, oh wait, they're going to enforce property standards. Let's get our act cleaned up. So that's about all I have to say on that. I would like to add one other thing. If you're here to pass the oil and gas ordinances,
Jim,
I would just like to say one thing.
That's a different.
Pardon?
That's a different.
I won't
hearing.
say anything. Goodbye.
Play so cooperative.
Jimmy done came down here rewriting the rules, categories. You must live in Commissioner Smith, Bishop. Thank you, Jimmy. Anyone here else here to speak in opposition? Okay. Next case.
Next is ordinance 4893, which enacts a film incentive policy for the parish.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Next, Mr. Spears.
That concludes the public hearing on ordinances. We now return back to the zoning ordinances, final passage. Ordinance 4888, Bernard's Market and Eatery, B2 development.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, second by Commissioner Dominique. Any discussion? Please vote. Is that to approve the rezoning? Want to make sure we just did so move. Your motion?
Yes, to approve it.
Bless you.
That passes. Next case.
Yes, zoning case P7, ordinance 4889, David Pierce is applicant to rezone property to R1D for outside storage of metal stud vehicles and trailers.
Move to pass.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau, second by Commissioner Pearson. Any discussion? Please vote. And that passes. Next case.
Zoning case P8, ordinance 4890, Clyde and Catherine Barnes applicant for requesting rezone property to I-1 for contractor's office and equipment yard.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Nicholson, second by Commissioner Pearson. Any discussion? Please vote. Okay, that passes. Next item.
Regular ordinances for final passage, ordinance 4892. It enacts Chapter 11 of the Code of Ordinances to address code enforcement.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Epperson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Pearson. Any discussion? Commissioner, did you speak on your motion? Okay, no, that's old. That's old.
Yes, I like.
Okay. Commissioner Epperson.
First of all, I would like to thank the committee that has been meeting for some length of time, even prior to 2008. I think this journey began around 2007 on this particular ordinance. Also, I would like to thank the staff, Ms. Frazier, Mr. Demiche, Mr. Grubbs, and the Parish Attorney's Office, because of the way that this has been put together legally. I don't want anyone to go away today and have a concern, because we scrutinize these documents very, very close legally as well as on a lay person's term. We also had the constables and the JPs present at basically every meeting that we had, and there was not any dissatisfaction or basically any contradiction to what our final draft was. Of course, we have some things to work out administratively, and we were told by the legal department that we can do those things administratively through the legal department and the JPs. And of course, we're going to have to come back to the commission basically for some initial funds on some things. However, we're working on that, and we agreed to put this ordinance forward as it is at this particular point in time. I don't know how many of you may have seen the situation where the gentleman on Denny Lane had that deplorable condition for a number of years. I constantly get a number of calls, and I'm pretty sure that other commissioners get calls also. And for us to sit here year in and year out and do nothing, I think would be appalling on our part. We are in competition for residents. We need a consistent and a growing tax base in Caddo Parish. We cannot send out the perception that anyone can come into Caddo Parish and do and live any kind of way that they want, because we already have a perception out there about certain things that goes on within this parish, and most people are going to other parishes to live. I think this is an initial measure to help us improve the situation. We'd also work collaboratively with the city of Shreveport. Well, hey, we have property standards and code enforcement in the city. Now we have it in the parish, so we want to send a message that, hey, you cannot live any kind of way and depreciate values of people's property and do things that are contradictory to your neighbors. So I ask for your support on this measure today. Thank you.
Commissioner Jenkins.
Thank you, Madam President. I am supportive of the ordinance, but, and I did read over this really a couple of times. Mr. Kuvion brought up something that I would like to follow up a little bit on. When I looked at the inspections area, where it talked about building structures and premises, that did not lead me to believe that we were talking about going into residential homes. Is that the intent here?
Absolutely.
To be able for constables and justices of the peace to go into residential homes? That's not the intent here.
No, sir.
Can somebody touch Mr. Grubb for me? Maybe I need to direct this question to him.
That's not the intent.
As far as the legal is concerned, Ms. Frazier, somebody.
Just worded that way.
exterior only. Exterior appearances of the property only.
But that's what I was assuming was going on here. We're not talking about someone going inside somebody's house under the guise of inspecting for, these type violations, right?
This is a response to complaints by residents that the deplorable condition exists exteriorly of someone's property. It gives us the wherewithal to go and try to do something about it.
Would it be better, and I'm just asking, under section 11.2 where it says violations, 11.2b, it talks about areas to be excluded. Should we list or specifically say that residential premises are being excluded? Would it be wise to put that in there?
Attorney Frazier is trying hard not to come up, but please do.
Commissioner Jenkins, the only time I think that the constables would have an occasion to contact someone at their home and not necessarily entering their home, but they need to be able to have contact with them to issue the citation. Say, for instance, if we've got this property outside and you're looking at it and the person is not outside, they do need to be able to go up to the home, ring the doorbell, or try to locate that person. Beyond that, we're not looking to inspect inside of anybody's home.
My question is, I understand that, but my question is, would it be wise to put it in there under 11.2b that this is not involved actually entering somebody's residential home for an inspection?
Commissioner, I would not think that that would be necessary. If there would be a change, I would suggest maybe to make it clear under 11.3a for the purpose of ascertaining whether a violation of this section exists, for the purpose of locating the owner to issue to whom a citation should be issued or something like that, to make it clear.
That wasn't very clear to me what you just said. Say that.
Say, for instance, constables and justices of the peace may enter any building, structure, or premises at reasonable times for the purpose of locating a violator.
What is that?
Well, I mean, you know as well as I do, you usually need some kind of warrant to go inside somebody's house.
That's correct, but there is a provision for that, for them to be able, I believe it's going to be 11.3c, that says, where it talks about the employees, and that would, I guess, include the constables, not I guess, but it would include the constables since they are enforcing the ordinance to be able to go and obtain a warrant.
Ms. Frazier, let me let the chair of the committee have a point of information.
I'll give Mr. Pearson out.
Okay. He's gonna yield.
Well, I think, and Commissioner Jenkins, I understand what you're saying in all fairness. All of the violations are external. So if you're going to ascertain whether or not a violation has been committed, then that takes away from, there's no violation that can be committed inside somebody's house. So if they need to go inside the house for whatever reason, it has to be to have conversation with the person to ascertain whether or not a violation has been committed. All those violations are external, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Right. So then there's no reason to enter a house to determine if a violation has been committed in the house. You enter the house to have conversation with the occupant.
If invited in. They can talk to you on the
you don't knock the door down going in. You're not knocking the door down going to nobody's house.
If you look at 11, do I still have the floor, Madam President?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
If in 11.3c, it says if if the person fails to consent to entry and inspection. I'm saying what the literal language of this says. Now, like I say, I'm gonna be supportive of putting this on the books, but I got a feeling we got a problem with constables and justices of the peace, feeling as though this ordinance gives them a right to go in someone's home for any reason, as far as I'm concerned. And especially if the language of it is saying something like you can go in there and inspect somebody's home. That's very dangerous.
Commissioner Jenkins, I'd also like to point out too, when it says consent to entry and inspection, a lot of times you're going to have property that may have a gate or something that has a lock where the external part of the property has a violation. So that would be applicable in those situations also where they may just need to get onto the property to issue the citation or to inspect what is outside, if not a person's house. So this is giving them, if they cannot get onto the property to do an inspection or something of that nature, then they can go and get the warrant to enter the property. As not just a house, because it does say premises as well, so that would include the curtilage and the yard and things of that nature.
Can I ask a question of the Commissioner Epperson? Would you have a problem with some amendment to this to exclude, have some language in here to exclude entering someone's residential home for an inspection, such as 11.2b, areas will be excluded from this section of the ordinance R. We can add in there the inside of a residential home.
No, Mr. Jenkins, I would not, if we can get some language that would be palatable between legal and us.
That's fine. I would suggest placing a comma behind timber in residential home.
Okay, well, if I could, if it's appropriate, could we make a motion so it could go forward today simply to amend Ordinance 4892, Section 11.3, I'm sorry, Section 11.2b, and add the language, the interior of a residential home.
That'd be
We'll take a
11.3.8.
friendly amendment.
11.3.8, right? Yes. 11.3, okay,
No,
come
that'd be
again?
11.2.
No,
11.3b.
No, that would be Section 11.2b.
11.2b. Okay, where are you again, Mr. Jenkins?
So in 11.2b, it outlines areas to be excluded from this section of the ordinance are commercial property, farmland, recreational locations, 5-acre tracts of land, and businesses, an example, oil and gas or timber. Then I want to come behind that and put a comma, as she suggested, and the interior of residential homes.
Second.
You gonna accept the friendly amendment?
Yes, I accept the amendment.
Commissioner Lynn,
Commissioner Jenkins handled my question, thank you.
Commissioner Thibodeau,
If that amendment passes, and I'm going to support it, then we really have no need for 11.3a. Everything is covered in B and C that needs to be covered. A is no longer needed. So I'm making an amendment to do away with 11.3a. Second.
Wait a second.
11.3.8, restoring of abandoned junk inoperable.
No.
Oh,
No,
11.3.8, I'm sorry, okay.
But that needs to be read.
A point of information on that, because 11.3a does include premises and any outbuildings that may be kind of open. You know how you have these storage sheds that are not enclosed? You still need to be able to go into those if they are outside the person's home, because that may be where the violation exists.
She's right about that. May have to withdraw that, but I withdraw the second on that.
Okay, yeah, that,
Mike has a motion, Madam President. I was just he has a motion.
you're withdrawing your second.
withdrawing your second.
Well,
All right, then let me just change it a little bit. Let's just do away with the portion that says may enter any building or structure.
So you're saying,
And
so you
leave
may enter
premises
premises?
And
May enter any
in there.
premises.
And I'm not sure what the reasonable times would be.
But building or structure may not be residence.
Pardon?
I'm sorry, Madam President, but it may not be a residence. It could be an outside building, an open building, an open structure, a shed, something that may have a violation. But they got to be able to go in there. Only thing, if I understand what we're saying, is that we don't want to give liberty to just walk in somebody's residence.
Residential.
A resident, place of
Okay, I
residence.
withdraw my motion.
Yeah, we just don't want them to be able to arbitrarily walk into somebody's place of residence when they're dealing with a violation that occurs outside.
Correct.
Okay, I think that's what we're saying. So any language that would permit or keep a constable or anyone from just arbitrarily going into a residence, I think is the language that everybody's trying to get to.
Right.
Okay, Commissioner Cox?
Okay. Up on 11.2, Section B, we have talked about this during the committees over the last year and a half. When it came to 5-acre tracts of land, we also said that they still need to be in some type of road frontage. You know, 100 yards to 150 yards is what we had discussed a while back, but it didn't make it to this. You can have a 5-acre tract and be on the main road and still have your trash out front. Well, just because you got a 5-acre tract means you're exempt. But if you have a road frontage, you still have a 150, I would suggest 150 yards of setback. Yes, sir, thank you. Of setback that you have to keep clean. Now, we had talked about that when we had first started that 5-acre discussion, because 5 acres is a lot of ground. But if you trash up the end at the road, that don't mean nothing. You know, you can put it behind on your 5 acres, I don't care. But if you're on the main road, and you're on a 5-acre tract, and you got a guy across the street that's only got an acre, but yet we're telling him he needs to clean up, and he's on a 5-acre, you'll have somebody come back and say, well, I'm 5 acres, I'm exempt. So we may want to look at that, doing an amendment to that. And on 11.3, the way I would have it read is, constables and justices of the peace with caution may enter any building, structure, or premises at reasonable time for the purpose of ascertaining whether a violation outside on the property of this section exists, when there be a reason to believe that such may be the case. So I would write with caution after justice of the peace, and after violation outside on the property. And that should take care of that one, in my opinion. So I would ask to do a substitute amendment on 11.2 to add 150 yards on 5-acre tracts of road frontage or setback of 150 yards on the 5-acre tract. And then on substitute motion on 11.3A to add with caution after the justice of the peace, and after whether a violation outside on the property on that one. And I think that should get us where we need to go. If I can get a second.
Okay. Substitute motion moved by Commissioner Cox, second by Commissioner Thibodeau. Okay, Commissioner Baker?
Well, I was just wondering, in section 11.3C, that last statement there that says to enter and search the premises described in the affidavit and designated in the warrant, doesn't that cover what, we put that language in 11.2B, wouldn't that cover what they could actually go in and inspect or search, if we were to say that they can only search or inspect the premises that they have actually in the affidavit or the warrant that they're actually serving?
You've been around Charles too long. I don't know what you.
We're saying.
She's right.
Yeah, she's right.
That's what I'm just saying. Well, then for us to list all those exclusions, because we might be making mistakes, why don't we just use that statement, since that statement is already in there to say to enter and search the premises described in the affidavit and designated in the warrant. That means that whatever's in that affidavit or warrant, that's the actual problem. And that means that they're giving them the right to actually do an inspection or violation on that property or that whatever that's listed in that affidavit or warrant, rather than we do all these amendments and taking in and putting out. Now, that's all I have to say. Thank you, Madam President. Just think about that part. Okay.
Commissioner Dominique, can you talk?
Commissioner Cox, you're going to explain to me about the 150 setback again? And I remember talking about that. But what language did you ask to be added in there?
With permission of the president. Okay. Let's see, which one was that? Let's see here. Okay. Where it says 5 acre tracts of land excluding 150 yards setback, or somehow or another we have to put in that 5 acre tract of land in parentheses, excluding 150 yards of the frontage road. If they're on a frontage road, if you got a 5 acre tract and it's out in the country, you're okay. But if you've got a 5 acre tract and it's on a road service, 150, I would suggest 150 yards back, 150 feet, I'm sorry, 150 feet from the road back should be clear. Can't park trash on the road.
So we would have the ability to inspect and enforce from the road to 150 yards back?
Yes,
150 feet.
150.
150 feet or 150 yards?
I said
feet. 150 yards is a pretty good piece. Yeah, I know, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, 150 feet, I'm sorry.
Okay, 150 feet.
And that just, at play, gives everybody a fair balance of, because you know somebody will say, well, I'm on a 5 acre tract and that I'm excluded. Well, you're not excluded if you have road frontage. Just like the guy across the street from me, he's got road frontage, but he's only got a acre, and he's getting a ticket for having trash out in front. Well, so should this guy.
You too, right?
Move
The
it,
road
just
frontage
move
you're
it back.
You're talking about a public road, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Of course, I don't know, I've had problems with this, and we've been working on this a long time, and, you know, you just got to do the best you can do. I understand, and I guess the main thing I had was problems with once some person's living condition, whether it be junk, starts affecting someone else's, then, you know, the parish should step in, and hopefully the constables and JPs will work with this and not go overboard with it.
Exactly.
Commissioner Epperson?
Call for a question on all motions.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Pearson. Please vote.
Call for the question.
That passes.
Now you take
The motion that is on the floor is that of the substitute motion of Commissioner Cox. Is everyone clear on what that is?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Commissioner Cox.
On
You
section
restate the
11.
motion, please.
Okay, substitute motion was on section 11.2B, as to add an exception of 150 feet on 5 acre tracts of land that face a public road. How's that?
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Then on section 11.3, if y'all read with us, constables and justices of the peace with caution may enter a building, structure, premise at reasonable times for the purpose of ascertaining whether a violation outside on the property of this section exists when there is a reason to believe that such may be the case. That means that puts him out on the property. That puts him out in the buildings, out in the sheds, out in the barns, out in the property, not inside the house.
Let me do a point of information on that one, Commissioner Cox. Because in the first sentence, we were saying you may enter, albeit with caution. And then you're coming back saying that they can only,
The violation of the property outside, not inside, is what I'm trying to
but
get.
they can enter the building.
Not the home itself. They can enter with caution the home itself, talk to the homeowner, but it's not about how he's keeping his kitchen. It's
Right,
about
okay.
the property outside. I think that pretty well gave you your information right there, or did that?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, they shouldn't enter the house. But
What you said.
that right there gives them, the constable, something else to go on, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Are we discussing that motion, Madam President?
Let me put my glasses on so I can see what names up here.
We've already passed call the question.
Yes,
So we
you have.
we're not
Discussing,
discussing.
proxies.
Right, motion.
Motion.
Commissioner Lean?
It doesn't have to do with that. I had tapped it up a long time ago, so never mind.
Okay, Commissioner Pearson?
I would just caution us, well, I say caution us. This document is going to be a document in progress. I think we are all basically saying we want to see the same thing in regards to walking into someone's residence. It's a matter of coming up with the proper wording so it will sound right. This document and this has been driven certainly by two things. First thing is, one thing is what Commissioner Everson alluded to in the very beginning, is the fact that we want to try to encourage people to take up residence in our parish. We want to try to keep it clean, keep it in a way that people will want to move to Caddo Parish to live in subdivisions or 5-acre tracts or however, whatever type of land ownership they would like to have. But we need to build our parish. Second thing is that it's been driven by people who already live there, who are tired of people junking up their next door, well, the property next door to them or down the street from them, and devaluing their property. So it's driven by the people who elect us. I think we all basically want to see this done. There may be some things that we have to do, or some wording that we may have to change to make this sound right. I doubt very seriously if any constable, and I think they understood when we had them in here, if any constable would walk into somebody's house to try and ascertain whether or not a violation has been committed inside the house. Well, I know that's what it sounds like, but that's not the intent of what we have written here. So what we probably need to do, and I would suggest that we go ahead on and pass this, go back to committee and tweak this so that it would say what we intended for it to say. And because I don't think that we have any dissension about what we intended for it to say. I think the dissension is for it is saying something that just doesn't sound right. So I would like to see us go ahead on and pass it, all of the amendments, and word them so that we can get on about the business. We've been after this now 2 or 3 years to try to get something done for the people in the rural areas so that they would have something to go by. And believe it or not, we still have people in the rural area that would rather not see any kind of code enforcement at all. They would rather just let me, if it's mine, I got 5, 6, 10, 20 acres, I can junk it up, I leave every car that I've ever purchased is parked right here on this piece of property. and that's the way they like it. But now we have people who feel the other way and who want to see us clean it up, and we want to try to do the best we can to try and build this community and build this parish like Commissioner Epperson said. So I would suggest that we move forward with this. Let us get to a point where we can critique the wording so to say what we wanted to say, and then go forward. Thank you very much, Madam President.
And Commissioner Jenkins?
And I agree in essence with what Commissioner Pearson is saying, and I mean I'm supportive of the amendment that's on the floor right now, but I'm trying to see, just for my clarification purposes, does this override the amendment that's also suggesting that 11.2B include the language, the specific language, that we're excluding the interior residential homes? I don't mind any of these amendments being attached to the ordinance and moving forward and voting on it today. But I guess I'm just trying to get procedurally in my mind correct. Voting on this amendment means that the previous amendment for the language that needs to go in there, particularly excluding residential homes, that no longer will be voted on?
Yeah, you got two.
Yeah.
You got two on the floor. That Mr. Cox, because he was last. Yeah. Then whoever was after that. Then we do the ordinance as amended, as a whole.
Okay, I think the amendments that's being suggested are fine. I really do. I have no problem with supporting this one, and I think we need to support the one that will amend Section 11.2B. And I think what that really does it makes it clear in there, that we don't have to deal with intent no more. It makes it clear in there that we're not talking about someone going in someone's home without proper credentials, and that kind of addresses what you're saying now also, Commissioner Baker, that if you're going to go in there, you need to have judicial authority to do that. Otherwise, I think we're exposing some people to some problems there.
We have to vote on them individually, and then get his. Then we vote on the ordinance as amended as a whole.
All righty. I see no other commissioners. Please vote.
This is the amendment here for this all. All amendments are fine.
Okay, that passes.
Okay. Next.
I think we're through.
That's it?
That's
Okay,
it.
that's it? Okay, now, okay.
All right.
Next order.
Next case.
Next ordinance.
Next ordinance.
Well, he accepted a friendly amendment, so that was already in place, and he just added two to that.
I know, but now you have the document as amended.
As amended, okay.
So
Let's
it's a
vote.
whole voted on.
As a whole.
We need to vote on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Please vote. Okay, that passes. You can relax now, Attorney Frazier. Next case.
Ordinance 4893 enacts a film incentive policy for the Parish of Caddo.
Moved by Commissioner Baker, second by Commissioner Smith. Any discussion? Please vote. That passes. Next item.
Ordinances for introduction by title. First one being ordinance 4894, amend your code of ordinances relative to section 14, Schedule F, no parking zones to include Hemperley Avenue and Chatelain Drive.
So moved. That's introduction, I'm sorry. Introduction. I'm sorry.
Ordinance 4895 rescinds the subdivision of Lake Vista subdivision. Ordinance 4896 adopts Chapter 29 of the Code of Ordinances to establish regulations pertaining to conducting oil, gas, and other hydrocarbon well operations and operations related thereto.
Madam Chair.
And then Ordinance 4897 amends your riverboat fund budget to provide matching funds for CCA's Head Start and Early Head Start expansion grants in the amount of $25,000 for the year 2009. You have one set of work session minutes, but not the other.
Commissioner McCullough.
Yes, in regards to the June 1st work session, which addressed the North Shreveport Industrial Park in my district, District 2, I provided for everybody present a packet of information with some news articles, the intergovernmental agreements for 1981, intergovernmental agreement for 2001, also in reference to the board appointments. The most recent board appointments are attached at the very back. Since the commission voted last on board appointments, you will see that that Ricky Hall and Jerry Brooks was appointed during the last time we voted. Of course, April 2009, their terms expired, and Ricky Hall, along with Jerry Thomas, James Fennell, have expressed an interest, along with Bruce Roberts, to actually serve on this board. But I guess I really need to make a motion to amend the minutes to reflect the true identity of the boards that were discussed for future reference. If you will follow with me on the June 1st work session minutes, go to page 2 at the very bottom, the very last paragraph, line 3, where you have the North Shreveport Industrial Development Corporation. Industrial has to be taken out because industrial is not a part of North Shreveport Development. I'm asking that that be excluded on both line 3 and line 5. On page 3, the very first paragraph on line 3, I'm asking that you exclude industrial again, because North Shreveport Development Board doesn't involve industrial. Paragraph 3, where you see after some negotiations, on the 3rd line, in order to proceed, that board. On the 2nd line, you reference Industrial Development Board, and you might want to refer to the 2 agreements that I gave you, the intergovernmental agreements, to verify what I'm sharing in order to amend or change the language in these minutes. But in paragraph 3 on page 3, again, line 3, where you referred to that board, you were referencing the board on line 2, Industrial Development. To refer to that board is not the North Shreveport Industrial Supervisory Board. So actually, it's the North Shreveport Industrial Supervisory Board that signs off on the sale of the timber. So I'm asking that you include North Shreveport Industrial Supervisory Board and not Industrial Development Board. In paragraph 5, answering a question from Mr. Escaday, Mr. Grubb said that the North Shreveport Development Board has been inactive. Of course, I know all of you are aware that there's some litigation involving Francine Miller, whose husband owned the classic car place on Spring Street. North Shreveport Development Board is still active, according to Bruce Roberts. The North Shreveport Development Board does not sign off on any contracts. If you go to paragraph 6, where it says, Mr. Escaday asked, what is now the sticking point? Mr. Grubb replied that the holdup is that there's a problem in getting the Industrial Development Board. That should be North Shreveport Industrial Supervisory Board and not Industrial Development Board. That's on the 2nd line in paragraph 6. The last line in paragraph 6, the IDB Board is a creation of the city of Shreveport. It is not a governing entity, but it does own the property. I think some clarity needs to be made there. It owns some of the property. The ID Board does not own all of the property. Also on page 4. If you go to paragraph 3, Mrs. McCullough questioned the validity. If you look at line 4, in 2007, Weyerhaeuser cut $28,800 worth of timber. I would like to amend these minutes to reflect that it was not Weyerhaeuser that actually cut the timber in 2007. It was Advanced Timber Services that cut the timber in 2007 and not Weyerhaeuser. The actual amount of timber of monies that were collected for this timber was $28,868.24 and not $28,800. In the very last paragraph at the very bottom, where it says Mr. Dominique asked Mr. Grubb, again, you on line 4, it was indicated Shreveport Industrial Development Board. It's so important that we completely state the name of the board, which is North Shreveport Development Board. So I'd like to make a motion to amend these minutes to reflect the changes that I have brought forward. Make it a second.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Epperson. Discussion, Commissioner Thibodeau.
Yeah, I understand that the amendments would make the information correct, but if we amend these minutes, aren't we amending what was actually said?
Yes.
I mean, the minutes reflect what was actually said. That's the purpose of minutes. So to go back and make the changes of what they should have said would not, in fact, be the minutes. It would be something else. So that's my question. Are we questioning whether or not the the representation of the minutes are correct, or if the information that was said at that time was incorrect and now we want to correct it. That's my question.
Well, Mr. Thibodeau, I think the purpose of the minutes is to accurately reflect what was said or done,
Right.
whether it was right or wrong. So if someone said north is down, that still goes in the minutes.
So I guess that would be my question to the author of the motion. Are you asking that what actually was said be changed?
I'm asking to amend the minutes to reflect the changes that I mentioned.
But that's not actually what was said.
I don't know, I just know it was incorrect, it's not factual. And I think it's so important, it's misleading if the information is not factual information based on this packet, and if you will, review it when you get home, of the true identity of the boards that were discussed for the North Shreveport Industrial Supervisory Board.
Well, I would just suggest if the information was not factual, could we then have an attachment to the minutes? I don't want to see the minutes changed if we are in fact changing what was actually said, because then they're not the minutes. Now, I could understand an attachment to the minutes to show, to give factual information would be appropriate possibly, but not to actually change the minutes themselves.
That's a substitute motion.
Well, let me just ask a question. Can you put an attachment to the minutes for the purpose, for whatever purpose you want to do it?
For correction.
But not make a change in the minutes, just put an
The
attachment.
minutes are supposed to memorialize permanently what a public body does at a given session. So I'm not sure what the attachment to the minutes would provide. But if I may, Commissioner, you know, in perusing the information that Commissioner McCullough gave today, for example, she produced some evidence that the two commission appointees of that board have current positions. And I know one thing that was said last time, I think, was that all of the board members of that organization all of their terms of office have expired, but they continue to serve under state law that says that they do. So to the extent that the statement was made that all of their terms of office had expired, if I'm reading what Commissioner McCullough has given us here in the way of minutes of a meeting that took place several years ago, that statement may have been in error, but it was still made. And I'll just go ahead and say, since I may have made the statement, that Mr. Spears can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the records of the commission, at least that I was provided with, showed the terms to be unexpired, but evidently those records may have been incorrect if indeed on whatever this date was that the minutes Ms. McCullough has passed out indicate that those two people were appointed. It's a harmless error, if you will, in that they continue to serve anyway, whether their appointments are current or not. But I'm rambling around to say what was said at the meeting is said it was said at the meeting, and I guess as I said a minute ago, I think the purpose of the minutes is to memorialize what was said and done at the meeting, and then if something was an error, then it just has to be corrected in a subsequent meeting, which is what I've tried to do, for example, with this one statement I just made, which will be in the minutes.
The changes that Ms. McCullough has asked for will be reflected in today's minutes.
That's correct.
It will be reflected in
What
today's
she has
minutes,
said and what
right?
I've said and what you say and what
Right.
everybody else says is going to be in today's minutes. Yes, sir.
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
So I need to change my motion
Well, no, because they'll automatically be reflected in
in today's minutes.
Right.
Okay, that's fine.
So,
Do a-
be okay for me to withdraw my second, and that'll take care of that, right?
Okay,
Uh-huh.
but are you making a motion to?
No, I don't need to
You
make.
don't have to.
You don't have to, it's going to automatically be.
Automatically
Right.
be.
Okay.
Reflected in today's minutes.
It's going to automatically be reflected in today's minutes?
Correct.
See,
Point of
something done.
information by Commissioner Epperson.
And Ms. McCullough, also the documents that you have, you can request today that these be a part of the official records, and therefore, the corrections you made today will be reflected in the minutes as well as documentation.
Okay. Well, then, that's what I'd like to make a motion to have.
Okay, well, I'll just withdraw my second, and then it'll automatically go there. Is that okay?
All right, so I would like for these changes to be reflected in today's minutes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Everything that I wanted to talk about has been covered. Thank you, Madam President.
Commissioner Dominique?
I think we covered it too. I think that, your minutes are what they are, and I think the motion needs to be made that, Ms. McCullough's statement, because we vote to, every time we vote to approve the minutes, I think a motion needs to be made, and, I'll make it for you if you want to, that Ms. McCullough's statement be specifically included in today's minutes, and her attachments that she has provided to us today be included in those minutes also.
It'll be in the minutes.
It'll be in there.
Am I to reproduce that entire packet of information and insert it in the minutes? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I would like to have.
Photographs and all?
I don't know.
I mean, it's just gonna be filed, so that would be.
To be attached to the minutes. Because I don't know if you can.
How do you attach it?
Well, file in the record.
And just file it, right there.
I'll file it at the courthouse.
We file it into our records, I guess.
Commissioner Pearson?
I mean, that's what I wanted to say, to make sure that, because whatever corrections she wanted to make are corrections that will take part in today's minutes. Now, and that will go forth and be a part of the minutes. Now, I don't know how to handle a packet of information.
Clerk will figure it out.
But I know that whatever corrections she wanted to make in terms of the names of those organizations, and the incorrect, that will be taken care of today, and we've already covered that. Thank you, Madam President.
All righty, so there's I need a motion to adopt the work session minutes of June 1st, unless there are any corrections.
I move.
Moved by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Cox. Please vote.
We're just voting to do what we were going to do anyway.
Exactly. I love the way y'all reading Commissioner Lynn's mind today. Okay. Resolutions, Mrs. Spears?
Yes, Resolution 26 authorizes bids for, advertising bids for purchase of $10 million of general obligation bonds.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Chair, second by Commissioner Pearson. Any discussion? Please vote. Ms. Vita, if you'll remove these two names, so I don't get confused. Okay, that passes. Next item.
Resolution 27 approves issuance of $121,000 of sewer revenue bonds.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Dominique. Any discussion? Please vote.
Just a moment.
Push one more time, Commissioner McCullough. Okay, that passes. Next item.
Resolution 28 authorizes administrator to ask the Department of Natural Resources to advertise, lease, and execute agreements to lease certain minerals owned by the parish as requested by Exco Production.
Moved by Commissioner Dominique, second by Commissioner Epperson. Any discussion? Please vote. Okay, that passes. Next item.
Resolution 29 supports Caddo Parish's application in conjunction with CCAA for a Head Start and Early Head Start expansion grant.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Pearson, second by Commissioner Jenkins. Any discussion? Please vote. It passes. Next item.
No old business on the agenda. New business is to confirm Mr. Dan Lowe Jr. to the Board of Twin Valley Conservation District.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Dominique, second by Commissioner Cox. Any discussion? Please vote. Okay, that passes. Commissioner Smith?
I just want to address the oil and gas situation. My feeling is still the same, it shouldn't go forward, but so I bow to the Commission's wishes. And as soon as Commissioner Welch gives his ruling, which I understand will be probably in a week or so, I will immediately call a meeting of the Oil and Gas Committee, and hopefully we will have it so we won't have the questions that we had on the ordinances, because I've worked on the ordinance with Commissioner Cox, Commissioner Pearson, and I think we will have ours done before that occurs, or we'll probably get run out of the country by our residences and constituents. So I commit to moving it as fast as possible, but I want to do it correctly and then do it right.
Commissioner Smith wants to let everybody know he's gonna call a meeting in a couple of weeks, I think,
Or sooner.
or sooner. Commissioner Cox?
Proactive. Two things real quick. Last week, and this Mr. Pepper and his organization, summertime is here. Kids are out and about and they're playing, going up and down the streets. A young 10-year-old boy lost his life in East Texas because he went into a yard that had 2 pit bulls in it that he had played with for many, many times, along with his friend. The friend was not there. The parents were not there. He walked in and got mauled to death. This is a sad day, and my heart, and I imagine everybody's heart, and condolences go out to that family. But as your kids are playing around in the neighborhoods, please make sure that they know their surroundings, know the dogs that are around in the neighborhoods, because you know, it just like that, a child can be gone. And I commend our animal control for the work they do and the education that they've brought forth to the parish as a whole. And to piggyback on Mr. Smith real quick, I feel that we definitely need to get with the administration, have that department put together before these ordinances pass, simply because to do it right the first time makes everybody happier. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to anybody. Sunday, don't forget.
Thank you very much.
No other business? Meeting's adjourned.
Hungry?